These are troubling times for the world. Two wars, major economic concerns, and generational advances in technology. India is not insulated from these challenges. Today, I spoke to the Army Chief of India, General Upendra Dwivedi, about all of this, about Israel's pager attacks on Hezbollah, the situation at the border with China, the violence in Manipur, and the use of artificial intelligence in warfare. The general offered some interesting assessments. He called Israel's attack a masterstroke. He said the China situation was stable but not normal. And he blamed false narratives for the chaos in Manipur. You can find the full conversation on our YouTube channel. Here's an excerpt. You took charge 3 months back, and it's been a period of churn for the neighborhood. Would you say that China is still the biggest security challenge for India? And how do you assess the situation at the border, given the high levels of troop deployment and the tensions, and at the same time, statements from the Chinese side saying there is progress and more convergence and fewer differences?
As far as China is concerned, it has been intriguing our mind for quite some time. And I keep saying with China, you have to compete, you have to cooperate, you have to coexist, you have to confront and contest. So what's the situation today as we are looking at? The positive signaling is coming from the diplomatic side. But what we have to understand, the diplomatic side gives you the options and possibilities. But when it comes to the execution on ground, when it relates to the ground per se, it is dependent on the military commanders on both the sides to take those decisions. So what's the situation today? It's stable, but it's not normal and it's sensitive. So if that be the case, what are we wanting? We are wanting that the situation, what was there pre-April 2020, that should be restored back. So till the time that situation is not restored, as far as we are concerned, situation will remain sensitive, and we are fully operationally prepared to face any kind of a contingency which will come through. And in complete gamut, if we see, the trust has become the biggest casualty.
So do you see progress? Because that is the word that is being used a lot, that there is progress. Do you see a possible deal on, say, on Demchok or some other place?
We have come a long way, in the sense whatever were the low-hanging fruit, those have already been resolved. Now when it comes to the difficult situations where we have a different perception from both the sides, it means that both sides need to have in any negotiation win-win situation. So some kind of indication have been given from both the diplomatic side. Now the military side will sit together and see how this can be translated on ground. And when it comes, what is on the table? Everything which is we can think of, it's on the table along the northern front, and it also includes Depsang and Demchok.
You also visited Manipur last month, and Manipur has been gripped by ethnic violence for more than a year now, and it doesn't help them that they have a border that they share with Myanmar, which is dealing with its own problems, and there are concerns about a spillover. What is your assessment of the ground situation there?
In the lighter vein, ek ke saath ek free, because Manipur was a problem and now you have the Myanmar problem also coming in. So as far as Manipur problem of we see in May 2023, it all started with a rumor that there was a Anglo-Kuki war centenary gate which is being burnt. It was not being burnt. I have gone on ground and confirmed from everyone. Now that rumor mongering led to major violence, which is still finding its kind of a stabilization phase which has not reached. So what has happened over a period of time? It has become a battle of narratives. There is a polarization between the communities. The situation may be stable today, but it is tensed.
Let's also talk about Jammu and Kashmir. They're having an election as we speak, and we've seen the security situation evolve over the past 5 years since the scrapping of Article 370. How do you describe things at the moment? And we've also seen that in the past, terror attacks were concentrated in Kashmir, but now there's a new wave of attacks in Jammu. What explains this shift?
So before I come to present situation, I must quote August 2019, what happened, you all are well aware. And thereafter went as an army commander, and Devendra Pandey is sitting here, who was the corps commander, and we met one of the ladies, wife of one of the active politicians. And she said, after this abrogation of Article 370, at least my children know when the principal tells that please draw the flag of the country when you come back tomorrow. during the Independence Day. As you are aware, the two countries have Independence Day one day after the other. Now they are very clear that which country flag to be drawn. I feel we are moving towards peace and prosperity. We had concentrated on southern Kashmir most of the time. We had concentrated in some areas of Punch and, if I can say that, Jammu. So the areas which were left, if I'll not say totally unaddressed, but what was there, we were looking for most peace and prosperity because those places we could invest money. The development was forthcoming. Now those areas have been addressed now by the adversary, the country which is on the western border, and the terrorists which have come now are basically most of them foreign terrorists who have come, and they are going into these areas. Similarly, northern Kashmir also, these people are going into these areas. So what happened? We reoriented, re-energized, and refocused our forces which are there, security forces. But that's not important. What is more important, the police has gone in for a major revamp because our state will only stabilize if its police is effective. And that's what we are trying to empower.
Let's also talk about the war in West Asia, which is clearly expanding. I was coming this morning and I got a news flash that they've begun a ground offensive in Lebanon. The Israelis have become. Where do you think this is heading? And my second question on the same subject is that we've seen some disturbing precedents being set in this conflict, including the use of everyday gadgets and turning pagers and walkie-talkies into bombs, and it makes people think everywhere in the world that we're all carrying some gadget or the other at all points and we're all sitting ducks. So does India share this concern about these methods, and what are we doing to ensure that we are not at the receiving end of something like this?
In this case, Israel has decided very clearly that Hamas is primary focus which I must maintain. So what is done? He's completely, firstly, wiped out the Hamas opposition. Thereafter, he said, okay, let me see on the other side. And if you see the page of what you're talking about, it's a Taiwan company being supplied to Hungarian company thereafter giving it to them. The shell company which has been created is something which is a master stroke by Israelis. And for that, it requires years and years of preparation. So it means they were prepared for it. And that is what it counts, that the war does not start the way you start fighting. It starts the day you start planning. And this is what is most important.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.